Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Accent Training Podcast. My name is Pat, your personal American accent coach, and today we're going to talk about 3 reasons that American accent training has not worked for you in the past, or maybe why it's currently not working for you. I want to share these things with you to save you time, save you money, and to make sure that you're taking the path of least resistance when it comes to American accent training. So getting into it, reason number 1, you began with too difficult of a concept, too difficult of a sound. Now this is because of inexperience. For a lot of people, either you are inexperienced and so you started taking on the most difficult sound without knowing it, or your coach may be inexperienced. Not me, I've got experience, but when I was an inexperienced coach, I would start people off with the R, R. I would use that in our first classes, the first week that we would work together, the R, the TH sound, the dark L, the most difficult sounds to adapt for a non-native English speaker. Now, coaches who are doing this have their heart in the right place. They're thinking, I want to help my clients take on the most difficult concepts, the most difficult sounds from day one. And so they'll go straight to the TH, straight to the R sound. And I've got to tell you, that's a major waste of your time. Fire them right away. No, I'm just joking. Don't fire them right away. But it definitely means that they're inexperienced. I recommend telling them, just straight up tell them, hey, we're wasting time because this is too difficult for me to work on. Can we work on something easier? Make it clear to them that you feel like your time is getting wasted by working on too difficult of a concept, because you could be seeing more progress by taking baby steps with one small concept at a time instead of taking on the most difficult movements of the English language to adapt from the beginning. Yes, the R sound is extremely valuable to your speech. So is the TH sound. Both of those sounds will significantly change the way that people listen to and interpret your spoken English. There's no doubt about it, but they are very difficult, and if you start out with too difficult of a concept, you're more likely to quit. You're more likely to say, this can't be done, and just give up. So follow my advice. Don't start with the trickiest ones. Start with vowel sounds. Start with the sounds e. Easy ones. Ones that are likely already familiar to you. And if you start by enhancing those sounds, you'll be following the path of least resistance to success. So that's reason number 1, that learning the American accent may not be going quite as smoothly or as easily as you'd like. Your coach or your mentor or someone has likely led you down the wrong path, the path of inexperience, and I'm here trying to push you back towards the right path, the path of least resistance. Reason number 2, you're taking on too much at once. Too much at once. I've said it before, and I will say it again many more times. When you try to fix everything at once, you will fix nothing. You will learn nothing. You will only waste your time. If you are new to accent training, and maybe you start on the correct path, maybe you start with some vowel sounds and you start building upon your strengths and seeing incremental improvements, but then you get excited and you research a whole bunch of things at once and you try to apply it all. You try shadowing all of the sounds of native English speakers, and you find yourself hesitating more. You find that your English is now worse than it was when you started this accent training journey. It's totally normal. It's a mistake that we all make when we get excited about learning a new skill. And all you got to do is slow it down. My recommendation is that the maximum speed you want to move at is 1 sound per week. That's the fastest that you want to be learning this. And that is if you are a highly dedicated accent learner. Someone who's practicing 15, 20 minutes a day, minimal pairs, shadowing, you're following the tasks that your coach assigns you, especially if your coach is me. You're following those tasks and tracking your progress. If that's who you are, and if that's what you're doing, then 1 sound a week is what you want to be learning. We've got 52 weeks in a year. And there are 43 sounds in American English pronunciation. There are also nuances, blending of sounds, syllable stress patterns, changes in the contrast, emphasis. But if you're working on your projection, your sounds, your clarity, and you're taking on 1 sound a week, you could, with my method, learn to use these sounds with a high degree of consistency within 43 weeks. 1 sound a week, 43 sounds, 43 weeks, and you can see some serious changes in your pronunciation. What is that, about 10 months? 10 months. Doesn't sound that bad, does it? So, if you are taking on too many sounds at once, that's a very common problem. It is your own fault, but let me tell you, that's good news. It means it's fully under your control to fix that difficulty. Empower yourself with my advice, change your approach, and you will not run the risk of giving up because things are too tough. The third mistake that you're making is the fault of yourself and your coach. If you are taking lessons, if you're taking one-on-one accent lessons with a coach, and you're not practicing between sessions, then that means that you are using your coach as a crutch. What does that mean? What is a crutch? A crutch is one of those large sticks, like a support stick, that you will use if you're walking and you have a broken leg or a sprained ankle or something. A crutch is for support. But we don't want to depend on the crutch, right? We want to strengthen our leg, strengthen our injury in that leg, and get rid of the crutch so that we can move forward on our own. There are a lot of inexperienced coaches who will not assign you tasks between your sessions. They won't hold you accountable for practicing. They'll just show up for the class, teach a quick little lesson, and say, "See ya." If that's what your coach is doing, he's fired. That's it. Fired. And find a new coach fast. Find a coach, and when you get this new coach, tell them, "I want you to hold me accountable. I want you to assign tasks and materials for me between classes that are going to help me develop habits." And tell them, "I don't want you to just tell me that I'm doing well so that I feel good about myself, because I want results." If you are using your coach as a crutch, it is your fault, and it is your coach's fault. But this is a common problem that a lot of people fall into when they're learning something new. They think to themselves, "Oh, well, I showed up to class. What's the problem? I should be learning this by now." Well, the problem is that accent training isn't a matter of knowledge. It's a matter of habits. You have to teach your muscles and your lungs and your brain to all work together in unison, without thinking about it, without hesitation, to project the clearest sound possible. That's what it's going to take to avoid wasting time and to see results. So those are the 3 reasons that American accent training has not worked for you in the past. The 3 things that a lot of people fall into, both coaches and students, which waste time, waste money, and lower your self-confidence. Accent training is not about lowering your self-confidence. Accent training is about empowering yourself by creating more effective speech habits. So if you're using your coach as a crutch, fire them, get a new coach, and set the standard from day number 1. And if your new coach does not agree to that standard, then contact me, because that's exactly the standard that I follow. If you're taking on too many things at once, you're moving too fast, slow it down. Work on 1 sound per week. Anything more than that will start to confuse things, and you will be at a higher risk of quitting and not reaching your goals. I want you to reach your goals. And finally, if you have started your accent training journey, but you started right away with the sounds R or TH or ZH or O, dark L, you began with too difficult of a concept, you bit off more than you could chew, and my recommendation to overcome this is to start with vowel sounds. Start with the sound ah. Or start learning about word stress, the strong and weak. Start building your patterns of spoken English, the basic baby steps of the language. R is essential. TH is essential. But they will come later down the road. Don't start with those sounds, because you will only give yourself a headache, and you will waste your time and waste your money, and you will doubt your abilities immensely. Start with the easy ones. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that you've taken some value from today's podcast episode, and I look forward to bringing continued value to your spoken English for many days to come. Have a good one, folks.